Good evening and welcome to the Footy Corner. We're live with another Premier League review show after another entertaining week of Premier League football. Yep. We have Depeche, a new member of the team. Welcome,
Yes.
Depeche. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How's everyone doing?
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Yes. Been a fun weekend, mate. Been a fun weekend.
That's it.
Yes. And Ayse, how are we doing, Ayse?
I'm all right. I'm not too bad. Not too bad.
So, yeah, we recovered.
Yeah, quite a weird weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's a yes and no recovery, yeah?
A little bit, yeah.
Well, before we get started, let's get the formalities out of the way. If you're coming to the channel, please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you do, share the live. We're live on TikTok. We're live on Twitter, rather, on 2 platforms, and we're live on YouTube on 2 channels as well. Upside has his own TikTok channel, which is, as you can see in the bar below. And is that your TikTok as well, Ayse?
Yeah, that is very much my TikTok.
Yeah. So I just didn't want to give false information. You know what I mean?
That's no problem.
So follow her TikTok as well. Obviously, the bits in brackets. So perfect. And subscribe to the channel and all that good stuff. So where do we start? Where do you want to start?
Wherever you want.
Okay. Should we start with the hot topic?
What, the Declan Rice sending off? Is that the one you're talking about? It wasn't a sending off. It wasn't a sending off. Listen, I've got people I work with who are ardent Brighton fans. Brighton, where I live, is actually one of the closer teams. And there was various people said to me today that was tactically done to take your best player off the pitch. And they were Brighton fans. And that had no involvement from me. They were Brighton fans.
Yeah. Very soft second booking, I think.
So what's your take? As a Villa fan, what's your take on it, Depeche?
Well, I was watching it live. I was on my lunch break and I was watching it live and I was a bit shocked. I saw him kick out at Rice, obviously. So I thought the card's coming out. Probably a yellow, could be a red. It is dangerous play in a way. But then when he booked Veltman and then he sent off Rice, I was just as shocked as Rice, to be honest, because when you watched it live, you didn't actually see him touch the ball and kick it out, if that makes sense. It was like...
He didn't book Veltman at all, did he?
Yeah. No. Well, Veltman rolled it on... Well, I saw it as Veltman kicked it forward or rolled it onto his Achilles. And
I think he bent down and did it with his arms, didn't he? He kind of pushed it forward with his arm.
Gained some yards, yeah. And then
hit on Declan Rice's heel.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, he shouldn't have done what he did. I think we can kind of all agree with that. But was it delaying a free kick? Was it delaying the quick free kick? Because if it was, why didn't he just take it from where it was? If that was his intention to take a quick free kick, why did he roll it forwards at all?
Well, the other thing is as well, it's a rolling ball. So
yeah, it didn't stop. So there's no reason why he wasn't interfering with play at all. He wasn't. And look, the bottom line is very simple for me. I think that Brighton got away with what they did because Brighton traditionally are not a dirty team. And I think because they went out there with a totally different game plan to what they normally do, I think that was why they got away with it, if you want my honest opinion. And I also want to see, to me, it's a funny one because out of the technicality of it, it's a sending off, right? The second yellow is a sending off. Fair enough. What I don't like is exactly what Xhaka said when he said it's about consistency. You cannot book him and then not book other players doing similar things, because you are leaving yourself wide open for the likes of Arsenal fans to turn around and say that you're being biased. Look, at the end of the day, the ref probably wasn't biased. Whatever. We'll never know. We don't know what's inside his head. But the truth of it is he's made himself look like that. And like I was saying on another show I was on yesterday, it's not like the old days where you had to wait for teletext for a result, or you had to wait for match of the day. There's thousands of camera phones in there filming it from thousands of different angles. You know it's going to be everywhere. And all that's going to happen when you make decisions like that, you're going to put yourself under scrutiny, because there will be someone that will pick up something you didn't see. And that's exactly what we're seeing coming out on the internet now.
We didn't book Joe Pedro earlier. It was on the 16th minute, I think. He just beat the ball out. Not consistent enough.
Well, have you heard the excuse for the difference of one not receiving a booking and the other one receiving a booking?
I have to say, I haven't.
Have you heard this one? Right. So basically, what they're saying is that he can go to the touchline, pick up another ball, and they can get on with the game. My argument to that is you can't do that because you've played it into the middle of the pitch. So somebody has to retrieve that ball to kick it off the pitch to continue with the game. Otherwise, you've got two balls on the pitch, right?
But surely, if he picked it up and it's in his hands, that's a cardable offence as well.
No, what I'm saying is, so basically, the ball that's kicked at, that's run out of play, he's kicked it into the middle of the field, and then he's going to go to one of the cones, pick up another ball, and take a throw in. So that's what I'm saying. So he's restarting the game with a throw in. But
there's been a lot of talk about he was delaying the game. I'll be honest with you, that happened so quick that everyone I was sat with was actually said, what's going on? So if he was delaying the game, why are so many people in a 60,000 capacity stadium not understanding what's going on? If it's that quick, it's not a delay then, is it? Because the bottom line.
Did you see the position of the referee? Have you seen that? Have you seen where he actually was?
Do you know what? I'm going to be totally honest with you. I was looking at something going on over this side of the pitch when the whistle went and there was gasps. And it wasn't until I looked over and the guy sits in front of me, and he always, even though we're there, he always has it on his phone as well.
Yeah, I have somebody around me that does that.
And he literally rewound it like 10 seconds and showed us what was going on from the angle that TNT were obviously showing it. But what I'm trying to get at was it was so quick that even in real time, the supporters there didn't see what the hell was going on. So how can it be accused of being a delay tactic when in real time it was like a nanosecond? That's what it felt like.
I'm not convinced it was a delaying tactic. I think it was a tactic, but I think it was a tactic by Veltman, as has been pointed out, to essentially get players sent off. It's just not right as far as I'm concerned.
He was walking away, so he wasn't even looking at the ball to delay the play, really, when you think about it.
And that's
unfortunately, he did look at the ball though when he kind of put his foot out. Yeah. So he actually put his foot out after that, and that's where the kind of indecision came from. But I mean, I said to you, Ayse, when I was on the way home, I was like, yeah, at 30 minutes, I was stood in that stadium. On 30 minutes, I said to people by the side of me, this guy's going to send one of our players off. I said that, and it happened. He was looking for it. It was like every single thing we did was a yellow card. I went into the concourse at half time, and I think we'd had 5 fouls to their 6, and we were on 2 yellow cards.
I think as well, there needs to be some serious conversations about what these refs consider to be cardable offences, because if you remember the game against Wolves with what happened with Jesus, Why is that not considered a cardable offence? Why is there not?
Why can you chokehold somebody? Why can you chokehold somebody? You can chokehold a player and not get anything.
No, and I just think there is a real look. This stuff. I know we're going slightly off tangent here. This stuff goes both ways, and this is what annoys me as a woman. Right? Is that I've had no issues with going to the Emirates and the way that I get respected and treated by the male fans. And I've been going since I was 4 years of age, right? And so, so we've been welcomed in, and you know, the Arsenal ladies teams are arguably one of the best one of the best women's teams in the world. Their history is undeniable, right? So it has to. So the stigma that women have had to get over for these sorts of things, the same thing should be treated with the men. Okay, why is it okay for a bloke to be grabbed on the backside and that's not considered to be some sort of assault? Why is it all right for someone to be grabbed by the throat and slammed down, but that's just banter? That's on pitch aggression. It's not right. If we're going to accept things one way that need to change, we also need to accept that male mental health, men feeling like they're no one wants to be grabbed on the arse in front of millions of people watching it on the telly, right? And these things are not being addressed, and it just filters down to every other decision. I know I'm going slightly off tangent here, but to me it's all linked. It's all linked with the lack of consistency that these refs are showing. Jesus, in that respect, got carded for pushing him off. How is that logical? It's not logical. And do you know what? It's really, really good having a Villa fan on here who's, I can see, nodding in agreement, because actually these sorts of things I've noticed when I speak to Arsenal fans about this stuff, I do have to take with a pinch of salt that we are all maybe a little bit singing from the same hymn sheet. We're all a bit in our own little bubble to an extent. We're seeing it from our point of view. But when you talk to opposition fans and they're telling you it's not right, they're telling you it's a shitty thing, they're telling you that it's not a red card, you know there's something going wrong. You 100% know there's something going wrong, and there's no different in those two decisions. Nothing for me.
Yeah, I still think it was very soft. Ideally, you just want to see 11v11 game. You just want an even game, because obviously we all know that changed the game, and then Brighton got the goal back, and then they could have won it, and then you guys could have won it at the end as well. But I feel it was a bit harsh. It's in the rules, I guess. He did kick it away, and that's what they'll say is delaying the start of play or interfered with play. But I just feel like it's a rolling ball. He was gaining yards. Rice wasn't even looking. Yes, he shouldn't have kicked it away and just got his foot out. He should have just left it alone. But we all make mistakes. I think the ref should have had a little word. Yes, booked Veltman. Or if he's going to send Rice off, he should send Veltman off, I think, for doing this, like booting him. Because
we should at least card him.
Right. He's perfectly within his right to give one final warning and go, look, next time, right, you know what's going to happen. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And this is, I think, where a lot of people are getting annoyed, because when it's one yellow card, fair enough. We know there's no dispute for me whether the first yellow card was a yellow card. It was a yellow card. But
I will caveat that though. There was a free kick on him on that run up to that yellow card. And there should have been a foul for him. That said, at that point, he probably just got a bit enraged and whatever, which was obviously the intention, to wind up the players and potentially get somebody sent off. I don't really rate that as a tactic, especially from a club like Brighton, who actually I have a lot of time for. Yep, so I don't really rate that tactic, and I kind of Danny Welbeck's part in that. I've lost a lot of respect for him. The keeper, I don't know what the keeper was doing, but I mean, he should get yellow carded as well for actually asking for a yellow card. It's just a joke. So the actions of those players kind of tell me that was a game plan to get somebody sent off.
It was. And you know, I wouldn't have agreed with you, and I may not agree with you now, if I hadn't seen, which I'm sure you saw as well. I don't know if they showed it on the TV. I can't remember what they did when they scored. Now, for me, this was the 100% proof it was a game plan. Their supporters were here, right? Our supporters were there. What did they do? They came and celebrated over our side. It wasn't like they had to run all the way to the other end of the pitch to see their supporters, so they just celebrated wherever. They made an intentional, conscious decision to come to the Arsenal side. Did you notice no one got booked for that? Now, I thought that was in the rules, that was, if, you know, I'm pretty sure it is in the rules, because if you take your shirt off and wave it around, that's a cardable offence, and you're not really doing any harm to anyone there, but that's incitement to riot, and that is in the rules, because I checked. And that's when I realised there's some weird crap going on here.
Yeah, some dark arts going on, wasn't there? Just to finish off on that, because obviously I don't want to talk about this the whole show, because it's going to get very boring for people. Have you seen the explanation from Dermot Gallagher, the ref on Sky Sports?
I've seen so many opinions from refs this weekend.
I'm just talking about Dermot Gallagher, because he is, as much as...
Well, I mean, I can't remember if it was his one I read or not, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, but he's basically the mouthpiece for everything, isn't he, at the end of the day, which is a bit of a joke, because he was a crap ref anyway, I thought, but there you go. He's basically come out and said, yes, letter of law, he shouldn't have given the referee decision to make. He shouldn't do this. He shouldn't do that. The presenter basically said to him, but do you not think that he should have got a talking to? Do you not think he should have stayed on the pitch? Should have been whatever? It was actually, that presenter was quite the objective for once, because normally he's kind of just towing the line and going with it. Yeah. And he said no. He said, you know, it's letter of the law. It is what it is. So okay, then he asked
the law. Then they should be doing this for every decision.
Well, yeah, I'm leading on to that. So I just said so if in the Chelsea Palace game, the Palace player, I can't remember, was it Hughes? I think it was Hughes. Yeah. Who's done like 4 or 5 yellow card offences apparently on Palmer, yeah. And he stays on the pitch, even though it's done it 4th and 5th time. He stayed on the pitch, and that's perfectly fine. And the guy didn't say he used common sense, but he said, well, he's spoken to him and he's done this and he's done that and he's done the other, and basically justified that as well. And you're like, you can't justify both.
No.
You either justify one, and that's the right way to do it, and the other one's the wrong way. But you're just protecting your mate. That's all they're about on that show. And if there's another Premier League referee review that's Howard Webb comes out, that is the, honestly, Love Island's more real than that.
The best refereeing I saw at the weekend was in the Liverpool Man United game, and I can't remember the player involved. I should have wrote this down when I watched it, but they I think it was a Man United player fouled a Liverpool player, and the ref allowed it to play on because Man United gained possession again, and they didn't do anything. Liverpool gained possession again, and they didn't do anything with it. And then when
he brought it back,
yeah, and then
it was on Gravenberg, wasn't it?
And it wasn't. That's it. And it wasn't until the ball went out of play that he carded him.
Yeah.
So he actually, but the bottom line was, you could see the ref was saying, right, they've got the ball back. I'm not going to break up the state of play. I'm going to let this go. And that because he didn't want it, he didn't want his decision to influence what was going on next. That's good refereeing. And I remember thinking at the time, that was perfect refereeing.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if you're talking about the letter of the law, you've got to be talking about the letter of the law at least 90% of the time. And the 10% has got to be the not letter of the law, rather than the opposite to me. And that's it's a bit of a moot point. We got what can you do about it? Rice misses the North London derby now. I mean, the best thing is that they still couldn't win with 10 men.
Well,
so we got 10 men, and they still couldn't win.
I said this the other day. I said it yesterday on a show, and I also said it. I think where I actually wrote it originally was on Facebook. I said, we've got to not look at it as 2 points lost. We've got to look at it as 1 point gained, because the old Arsenal would have lost 3-1. Take us back to...
We had chances to win that game as well, by the way.
We did have chances to win. We did, but I do think, take Arsenal 2-3 seasons ago, we would have fallen apart after that.
Oh, I completely agree. And we did fall apart for a second when we conceded the goal. We did fall apart. The heads were hanging, weren't they? But it's just after that goal, everybody kind of rallied themselves and went, no, we're not having this.
Yeah.
So, fair play for that. I mean, I don't know how you saw it, Depeche, as watching it on TV or whatever, but that's kind of the way I saw it.
No, you had chances to win it towards the end as well. I think I see it as a point gained, really. You could have won it. You could have killed the game off in the first half, I feel. You have that many chances.
3-0, couldn't it, before any of that happened?
But same with lots of teams. We've seen it with Spurs. They're all over teams, and then they mess it up, which is great for, obviously, you Arsenal fans. But loads of teams in Premier League do it. They don't take advantage of being on top, and it costs them. This would have cost you, in a sense, because it was a red that maybe shouldn't have been given. And they were all over you. Obviously, everything switched over. You're defending, and then they scored. João Pedro scores, and then luckily, in a way, it's a good point. I think at the end of the day, I think you could have lost that. Yeah, it could have gone the other way as well. You could have won it towards the end, but I think you're more likely to have lost that than won it. So I see it as a neutral, as a point gained, and you move on.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's not. It felt the first half like Brighton were trying to stop us, and then it felt like in the second half we were trying to stop them. And unlike United and Liverpool yesterday, and it was Gary Neville said it on the show, actually, he turned around and they were talking to him about the formation at half time, and he went, I don't know what formation Man United are playing. I think they're just trying not to get let Liverpool get a fourth goal in. And I felt like that was there was no direction, but I did feel like us in the second half, after that sending off, we were marking man for man. Like there was still a game plan going on, which is why I say the Arsenal of old would have fallen apart. And yeah, the thing is, I do feel it's 2 points lost to one extent. And I think it's also a little bit sharp because we lost the league by 2 points last year. So, of course, that could, your brain goes, that could be the same 2 points. That could be. But we are still very early in the league. And what people have to remember, and this is no detriment to any Ipswich or West Ham fans out there, but everyone goes on about this, this fantastic beast is Haaland and this fantastic team that's Man City. Of course, Haaland's an amazing player. I'm not going to take that away from him. But they have only played Ipswich and West Ham. And I think that we need to remember and put things into perspective that we have had a couple of teams, yourself included, who done us over last season, who we were able to do something against. And I think there's still massive progress going on in this club. And I refuse, my mantra is not to be a moany Arsenal fan. And I promise that I will not do it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you see that. I know it wasn't this game week, Depeche, but I think we completely dominated the game against Villa.
What, Arsenal last week? Yeah, he played really well. I think Morgan Rogers, I've done a video on him. He was outstanding.
He was outstanding, but he didn't really have an end product.
No,
That's the
really.
only downside.
Yeah, but Watkins is just coming back. He hasn't had any preseason actually. So obviously he should have scored in the first half. I think it was when he had the chance it's on the half turn, but you would expect a striker like Watkins to finish that off. And then the second one, he's just taking it for granted. He thought, Raya's on the floor. He's not going to get up. I've got an easy open goal here. And what great goalkeeping, obviously. But it's one of them where Arsenal had lots of chances as well. Obviously, you take your chances, you win. And Trossard is a great player as well. Keeps coming off the bench, but he seems to work off the bench. He started the last game against Brighton, didn't he? And I don't know how he played too much of that game. I didn't really watch the first half. But I think he took his chance and we didn't. That was the difference. But last season's game, obviously, I felt that was a very tight game, and that could have went either way as well. And luckily, it went for us that game. But yeah, Arsenal deserved.
Can I just address something? I'm getting some flack in the chat from, I think, some West Ham fans, right? And I want to say that I actually do have respect for West Ham. A lot of my family.
Sorry.
But what I want to add is that that West Ham at the moment are not playing on their top form. It's not that I'm taking anything away from West Ham. What I'm saying is they're using West Ham to make Man City. It's the psychological games they play of making City look better than they are, right? Kind of a bit like the other day. I didn't think that Liverpool were amazing. I just thought that Man United had a poor game and Liverpool maximised on the chances. So please, guys in the chat, don't hate me. I'm not taking anything away from West Ham. Of course, you did beat us twice last season. We know that. And to be totally honest, if it wasn't for you lot turning us over last season, I don't think we would have had the end of the season we had, because after that and the game at Fulham, that's when we went off to Dubai and we did what we did with the set piece coach. So everything has a silver lining. I don't want to start coming on this show and getting hated. Yeah. Bloody hell, I've been on here half an hour.
I see some of my friends are in.
Well, let's just run through these chats, because there's a few of them there, and it's just nice to get people involved. If you are in here, then please make sure you're liking and subscribing and sharing. But Jess U1990 says definitely a sending off, no question. Delayed the restart, intentional.
That's actually my mate. He's a United fan, so you can grill him if you want.
Oh, he's a United fan, is he?
He's a United fan.
Okay.
Someone's got to be.
In the words of Trent, I don't agree. It was wrong sending him off. I think there needs to be consistency. I think we agree with that.
Yeah.
But yes, agreed. Need to be consistent with decisions. Yeah, I mean, I think you can argue one way or the other whether you're right or wrong, whether it should be a sending off or not. But there needs to be consistency right across the board. Well said. And it shouldn't be whichever game week it is or who you play in or anything like that. It should just be the same for everybody. Just shows how biased the referee. I don't necessarily think they're biased. I just think they're in the limelight. They're heat at the moment, just like everything else.
But something though to that. Sorry to interrupt you. My husband made an amazing point last night, and I tell you what, he's 100% right. You never ever wind up nerds on the internet, right? And what I mean by that is, within hours of this happening, there were pictures coming out of him when he was a teenager in a Man City shirt, right? Never, ever, ever wind up nerds on the internet, because they will find stuff out about you. Like, it's 100% true, and it happens all the time. So that, I don't think they're biased, but I don't think they help themselves.
What, this was a referee in a City shirt?
Yeah, he grew up a City fan.
Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know how much we can read into that, to be fair, but
that's is we shouldn't, and realistically there probably isn't. But when you make decisions like this and then this stuff comes out, it allows people to put 2 and 2 together and make 5, doesn't it? Like, this is the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Respects to share the same sentiments. Delete. Was that? Is he talking about the Delete challenge on Gravenberg? Yeah. Arsenal should be beating Brighton every day of the week. It's games like this cost Arsenal the league. Kishnan, I would say I would agree with you, but obviously down to 10 men, played with 10 men for 45 minutes, 40 minutes. I think you have to look at a slightly different perspective, and kind of take what you got, because it's very easy to lose, especially if the heads hung for any longer than they did. It wasn't a red card. The referee cost us a game. I would argue yes and no. We had chances before that incident. We had many chances before half time, potentially to make it 3-0. I think we could be well out of sight by half time.
Lots of chances.
Yeah, so I think in the latter stages you could say that, but also you could say seasons gone by, it would have cost us the all the points. So at the end of the day, Kai is agreeing. We shouldn't be drawing to Brighton. Definitely 2 points dropped. What? Agree and then disagree. What? Okay. Not quite sure. It used to be indecisive, but not too sure. But yes, I think we agree. That we should have taken our chances in the first place. But yeah, if anything else, we got lucky to get a draw. I don't think it was lucky. I think we were more composed after the goal went in, and I think they just gathered themselves, didn't they? I should show West Ham respect. Ipswich, fair enough, but West Ham squad beat us twice last season. They did beat us twice last season. However, I mean, they've got a new side as well, and they're yet to gel anything. And they've had a hard start as well, to be fair to them. Morgan Rogers ran circles around Party and Rice. He did, yeah. But you just spoke about us taking chances. And he didn't take any of his. So it's the same. What goes around comes around as it goes.
And in all fairness to West Ham, and I'm sure the West Ham fans in here will agree with me, it's we can judge how much we improved by what happened against West Ham, because we lost to them twice, and then once we went to Dubai, we had that training with the set piece coach. We beat them 6-0. Right, so and that's not rubbing it in West Ham's face. I'm saying quite literally.
Wait. Is this West Ham? They give them a tough game. When? What, this season or last season?
No, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in the chat, but I think they're talking about the game on the 19th of May, which to be fair to them,
we can side out.
Thank you, Charlotte. I do appreciate that. I very much appreciate it. I'm terrible. I don't like falling out with I'll give you a little bit of a thing, like the guys on here that know me. I'm a history teacher, and on the last day like 2 weeks ago was our GCSE results, and the one kid that I wanted to do so well because they were really, really, really working hard was a Spurs fan, and I phoned them on the actual results day and congratulated them and said, "You must know I think you're worth it because you're a dirty Spurs supporter and I still helped you get your GCSE." So that's how unbiased I try to be at times.
Yeah. Okay. So we got Richard Simkin, I believe, is on my Twitter feed. So he follows me on Twitter, I believe. Liverpool were bang average yesterday, and that scares me being a United fan. We were absolutely horrendous, which is why I walked after 75 minutes. You weren't on your own, mate, and I fear there might be a few more of those this season coming for you. I put you in the top 4, but the way you set up, I just can't see it. And I'm not saying that to hate. I'm just being completely brutally honest with you. And I think the quicker you get Casemiro out for a start off, his legs have gone. His legs have gone, and I think his head's gone now, which is scary, because obviously when they're composed, they can make up for the fact that they're not very quick. But I think Walker is now proving as well that he's half a second slower in thinking. So he has to be even quicker, but he's actually a bit slower. So I think he's getting found out a little bit as well, but not as much as Casemiro. I think Casemiro is. I think he's in trouble.
I just think he's the system that Ten Hag plays doesn't suit him at Real Madrid.
Is there a system? Is there actually a system?
Well, we don't know that either, to be honest. I think at Real Madrid it was his. At Real Madrid, he played really well. He had someone alongside him, like a Kroos or Modric, that you just pass the ball to and they'll do the rest. At United, he feels like he has to get the ball and progressively move forward with the ball, or get the pass through the midfield. And yesterday we saw what happened when he tried to do that. And
Bruno had a nightmare as well, to be fair. He was trying to lay the ball to Bruno, and Bruno misplaced every pass he did. Odegaard did one, and then I kind of related that to Odegaard's one, and he just kept doing them. It was just mental.
Can I just make a point about, and I've said this a few times, and I genuinely mean this about United fans, right? And I'd be interested to see what it's Richard's in the chat. So United, yeah, be interesting to see what he says. So I can't believe I'm saying this after the rivalry over the years. I actually have a little bit of a soft spot for United in the fact of I think they're taking this transition period they're going through quite graciously, and I actually.
Now they are.
Yeah, but what I was about to say is Man United will never be Spurs. And what I mean like that is that Spurs are obsessed with where they come in comparison to us, right? Everything rotates around what Arsenal does. We saw that last season. I've never met a Man United fan that even mentions City, because Man United fans' attitude, the ones I've met, if I'm wrong, please correct me, their attitude is we've had all this, our day will come again. Let them do what they're doing. They're no concern to us. They're the other part of Manchester, whatever. I never ever see a United fan act like that to a City fan the way Spurs fans act to us. And considering, they're meant to be like Everton, Liverpool, Man City, Man United, Arsenal, Tottenham, it's meant to be those close cluster rivalries. I take my hats off to United fans for that reason, because I don't ever hear them obsess about City. I hear them go, you know what, we'll be up there again. We just need to find the right gel, the right formation, the right manager, whatever. So I give them that. I mean, I'd be interested to hear what you two think, but that's my view. I do feel that way about United.
I think the rivalry between United and City isn't as, maybe as I don't see it as close as Arsenal Spurs. That's how I see it anyway. They've always been all over City, all before the billions and billions came through, all the Saudi the oil money came through. So they kind of don't feel they're in the same category. And now finally City are picking up and obviously winning title after title. Now they're kind of feeling, well, our time will come. And that's fair enough, because they've had all the City's always been red for them. Now it's finally getting blue after the last few years. But that's how I see it. I don't know what you guys think. I feel like Spurs and Arsenal rivalry is a bit closer compared to a City and United, but I don't know what the chat thinks.
I think the Arsenal United rivalry is actually bigger.
That's definitely that's bigger. Yeah.
I think that is a bigger rivalry than the Man United Man City. I mean, I don't know if that's location, because obviously there's so many in London anyway, purely because of their recruiting of fans early on in their thing, because they but I think that's unrivaled, really. I mean, well, actually, it's not unrivaled. It's obviously United Liverpool is bigger, but yeah, I think apart from that, I'd say United Arsenal is probably. I mean, they might see it completely differently. I don't know, but that's kind of where.
Depends on how old you are, I guess. Do you remember the Wenger Ferguson days?
Yeah, but exactly, and I think that's what it is, isn't it? It's
anyone seen that program with Vieira and Keane? That documentary they did together.
I need to watch that actually, because I saw it.
I won't ruin it for you, but I'll tell you what, it'll make you sad. And the reason it makes me sad is, well, it doesn't make me sad now because of, the things that are going on in our club are quite positive. But when I saw that, I was like, I miss them days. I mean, I miss that. I miss that fire between them, right? And because it was genuine fire of each side, each player wanted to do the other one over. You just don't get it anymore, do you? It's like, it's not the same, and it is because it's so money motivated now. It's a job to them, so they'll be all hot headed on the pitch, and I think that's why I've liked seeing players like Rice and Ødegaard and what's happened with Havertz for Arsenal, because they're playing with genuine passion, and and it's like, that game against Tottenham and City last season where we needed Tottenham to lose, right? Also Tottenham to win. Richarlison wasn't playing. And I remember thinking to myself, he's got a lot of passion. And I can't imagine him laying down and dying in that game like I felt some of them did. I think he would have been quite annoyed at the sort of, like the fear of going forward against City. But that's last season. We can put that to bed, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. obviously we're all going to reminisce on the good old days, aren't we? But yeah, hopefully things happen and we can actually lift something, and we don't need to think about that anymore. We can only hope. Well, let's go through the rest of these. I agree the Declan Rice call was harsh, but by the letter of the law, it should have got sent off. Yeah, that's never an argument. It's not an argument at all. We're just saying that it just needs to be the same for everybody if that's the case.
Yeah, I agree.
If Rice wasn't already booked and did what he did, would it be scrutinised the way it is? Well, no, but I don't know if the ref tried to make a name for himself or whether he's just got overly involved, or the pressure of being surrounded by 5 Brighton players, where that's illegal as well, isn't it? By the letter of the law, they shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
So he should be stopping that, right? But he didn't. He just brandished another yellow and sent the guy off. So this is what we're saying. It's basically double standards. So you basically are right. Okay, well, for him, yeah. We're going to do letter of the law. But for everybody else, we're either going to use common sense or mitigating circumstances. So that's all we're saying, really. No, I was talking about this game. What the West Ham game against City.
To be fair, that is true. I mean, my husband picked me up from the station when I was on my way home from the Arsenal game, and he had it on the radio, and it was at one point, it just sounded like West Ham were all over him. Just did. Yeah. I mean, he's a narcissist. He loves listening to it on the radio. I can't stand listening to the radio. I feel so like I don't know what's going on. He loves it. That's what he says. He loves. He goes to me, I love the thrill of being able to listen to it on the radio and not quite know what's going on. I went, you're just a weirdo.
That is weird. That is weird. I won't listen to it on radio, even if I'm like at work and I need the radio on, because it's just I need to know. I need to be able to see it. So I'll be like, yeah, I'd be rushing to a TV somewhere and just not, I'd be a fight. I've been working on a tower all week and all weekend, and I'd just be like, yeah, I'd probably kill myself trying to get off the tower to get to the TV to watch it. So
the only time I remember even being, I was a kid. My dad used to turn, when Arsenal played Man United mostly, bloody Andy Gray. So my dad used to turn the telly down and put like radio, like when Capital Gold used to the football, used to put that on over the top, because he was like, I cannot stand listening to this man commentate an Arsenal game. That's
it was crazy, wasn't it, that? I didn't watch the West Ham game. I don't know if it was actually on, but yeah, I mean, Haaland getting a hat trick again. That guy's just a machine, isn't he?
Messing up my fantasy football.
He is a machine, but you have to remember he didn't have any. He's not tired from any Euros. He was at home doing all his training. You know what I mean? It was like it's
even better though, isn't it, for him?
I mean, let's face it. He's incredible when he's knackered. So of course he's going to be amazing at the moment. He's not tired.
Yeah. So hopefully they get games in Euros and whatever. But I don't think anybody's going, are they?
Nah.
Nobody of any great significance is going to play at these the first international break, I wouldn't have thought.
Well, this is the thing I don't get, right? Jude Bellingham got carded and he's got a suspension, and they're allowing him to play the suspension whenever England basically let him. Why can't they do that in the Premier League then? Because I'm not being funny. That's why I feel like this is a bit of, like you say, dark arts going on. Why couldn't they give Arsenal or the FA choose a random game that Rice has to be off for? Why has it got to be the next one? Because let's face it, everybody knows what the bloody next game would be, and it just looks like a bit of a stitch up.
It really does, doesn't it? It does look a little bit odd, but hey, I mean, maybe the Brighton guy thinks he can win the league. Maybe that's what it is. He's trying to hold us back for the league position so he can win the league. Maybe that's what he's thinking.
Who knows?
Do you think that's reasonable?
I don't think Brighton have got anything to gain from keeping Rice off against, keeping him off against Spurs.
No, but that's all I mean. That's all I mean. So if the only thing it matters is if they're in a title push, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so. But that seems like there's a lot of variables going on there.
I know it's a stretch, but that is the only circumstance where it actually makes any difference for them, surely.
Possibly.
It doesn't make any difference or anything else.
No, possibly. Either that or they were thinking short term and were like, their midfield is so strong. We've got to get. I do wonder that. See, the two things that I noticed of that game on Saturday was they were going after him, but what is this sudden fascination with teams in the Premier League wanting to take out Xhaka's ankles all the time? Because that's something.
Saka's biting back, though, isn't he?
What do you mean?
Saka started biting back. He started.
Oh, he has. Yeah, he has.
Kick.
And you didn't see it all on the TV either. Like, there was a lot of times when you saw him quite effing and jeffing. It wasn't very happy.
But I think he's had to do that, hasn't he? Because he keeps getting targeted so much. So, but sure enough, he gets carded more than anything. But there you go. We could go into that one all day. I mean, what do we think of City's start? Do we think that's? I mean, have they? I know they played West Ham.
Yeah, really, West Ham obviously a good side. I think they'll be pushing for top 6 this season. I think they've got a really good squad there. They just need to gel.
The European places, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they're definitely one of the dark horses. I think, but City haven't really had proper hard games or tested. I mean, obviously we played you guys. That's a test for you guys, really. I
was for that game more. Listen, I was fearful of that game more than I'm fearful of facing City. I genuinely was, because, and I've had this row with so many people. I've said, look, 100 City can have 1,015 charges against them. The bottom line is, if we hadn't lost to Villa, we would have won the league. It doesn't matter what is going on with that. That is the truth of it. So I was more fearful of playing you lot than don't get me wrong, I will be peeing it when it comes up. But I was, at the time, I was like, this is Villa. They know how to play us.
Yeah. So, the thing is, if we do the same against City this season as we did last season, we're still in the same place, aren't we? It's what happens against other teams. That's more the thing. But City have just started slow, but they've started methodical, and they're just getting the job done, and easily. They're just cruising, aren't they?
It's all mind games. So they're not even out of second gear yet, right?
What if Haaland gets injured? Obviously, they got rid of Alvarez. Who sits there up front? Who would be there? Do you know what I mean?
Well, there isn't anybody, is there? There actually isn't anybody, because they've got rid of Alvarez, and that's I mean, that's ridiculous money they got for him as well. I don't really know how they managed that, but I'm
just thinking who they got. They can't play anyone there, really. Grealish can't shoot.
It'd be Foden, wouldn't it?
They'll just, I don't know. Well, it's like Havertz. He's not technically a striker, but they've put him in the striker number 9 role. But he's got the physique attributes of a striker, and now you're playing him as a striker, and that's benefiting your team. Who can play that position for City, really?
What are your thoughts on Havertz as a neutral fan?
Say that again, sorry.
What are your thoughts on Havertz as a neutral fan?
I think I've always followed him, even when he was at Chelsea. I think he's a great player, and then obviously he started off slow at Arsenal, and I was hoping that he got given time, because I think he's a really good player. Very silky, strong. He looks weak, but he's actually a strong player. He knows how to hold up the ball, got skill about him, and he makes intelligent runs, and he's got everything.
He plays around quite a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah. So
this is the difference between the team under Abramovich and Mourinho and the team now, is that they used to throw money at the team, but they used to strategically buy players that Mourinho could very much gel into the team he did. The mentality now is they still think throwing money and getting all these clusters of players together is going to work, and it's It's clearly not working. And I think when you see these Chelsea fans on, we've all seen the TikToks and that where they're, oh, we've robbed you, Arsenal. Thank you. 60 million. Havertz, look, people take the mickey out of them. I've done it as well. But in reality, that's what he was showing at their club. So they're going to have that opinion. But it's because he wasn't playing and gelling with the players he was surrounded with. And that's why I think that he's done so well with us, because he's had the players he can flourish with. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the style of play that Chelsea kind of play is a bit of a weird one anyway, isn't it? It's like under Drogba, it was like a bit of kick and run, and then they had Hazard and had wing build up play, but never really had a striker. But then they'd never really relied on Havertz either, so it was a little bit strange. So I don't get Chelsea, because I remember one game where they had, I can't remember who the striker was now. I think it was Lukaku. And Lukaku was on the field and they had nobody to cross the ball in. And then they substituted Lukaku off for whoever. I can't, just a shorter striker or whatever, and put Ziyech on. And you're like, well, the one thing Ziyech can do is hit a front man. He struggles getting there, but once he gets there, he can hit the man. So surely you'd want the man there to receive the ball for him to hit, because he come on and he was anonymous, because it's like, well, you took the target off. What's the point of this? But yeah, Chelsea's a weird one for me. You see that they're kind of heading in a direction, and then they sell a player and the direction's completely changed.
I think the management there are taking it way to the the letter of the law by treating it like a business, because they're not even letting the manager have any say in who they're buying, I believe, are they? It's there's the management involvement is not, and I think that's one of the things I've really liked about the way Arsenal are playing lately. I've noticed there's a lot of interaction between Arteta and Ødegaard, whereas it feels very much like sort of the Adams and the Wenger sort of conversations you saw, and then the other the other ones of our captains that have been under Wenger. There was that conversation, and I don't think you see that a lot in the Premier League between managers and their captains. It's so much run like it's the power filters down, but it's like a hierarchy of business now. I don't think you're seeing that, and you see that in Arsenal. And every successful club you've seen, they've had good relationships between their manager and their captain, because everybody knows you can lose the dressing room if you don't have the captain.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that's Villa have done quite well with that as well, recently at least, with players coming in and just communicating better and just literally being on the same page. And obviously there's the whole debate of Emery and Arteta, which is kind of a bit non-starter, because one's got 20 years more experience than the other anyway. So if he's not better, then why is he in management? Because he should be better, shouldn't he? But
pointless comparison that was. I saw that.
It really is a pointless comparison. It's just like comparing apples and oranges. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's not the same, but it's almost like comparing, I don't know, Pep Guardiola and Maresca. Maresca was under Pep, but you can't really compare him. Obviously, he wasn't under Emery or anything, but you know what I mean? It's like someone's just up and coming, Arteta. Emery's won European trophies. Arteta will get there one day, but you can't really compare them just yet. They're both great managers.
No.
They just got their own style of play. Obviously, I think Arteta's a really good man manager. And I think Emery is just tactical. I think he's a tactical genius. He just knows how to change something up because he's seen it all before. So I just don't think that is a non-starter for me as well. When I saw that on Twitter,
I just think he suits Villa better than he suited Arsenal, and you could argue that maybe he learned a lot from his time at Arsenal when he got it wrong. You know, the management side of things.
I had to correct a Villa fan the other day because I thought that their take was really silly. They turned around and said, "Oh, the reason Emery does this is he's got something to prove to Arsenal." And I was like, I think that's a ridiculous thing to say, because actually, if he hadn't have been sacked by Arsenal, he wouldn't have this great career at Villa and be doing with Villa what he's doing with them. So that's ridiculous. If you asked him where would you rather be, Arsenal or Villa, there's never a chance he's going to say us. He's always going to say Villa. So actually, you should treat it that, you know, great that he left us because he's doing amazing things with Villa.
Yes, exactly.
And if a manager hasn't got something to prove, then what's he in management for?
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense.
He was right. I think he was the right manager for you guys at the wrong time. Obviously, Wenger just left. To fill his shoes at the time is always going to be tough.
I don't necessarily think. I think he's changed a lot from when he left. When he went back to Villarreal, and since he's gone to you, I think he's changed a lot, and I think he learned from the division that he kind of caused and created, and he kind of vowed not to do it again. I think it's as simple as that, to be honest.
There's a really great point that Richard's made in the chat. Right at the very bottom.
Yeah, I was still going to go back into that, so just trying to swing back in there.
Just seen that comment as well. It's a good one.
Yeah, if Pep leaves, do you think Arteta takes a City job? The old saying, if you can't beat them, join them. I think if the negative Arsenal fans don't shut up with their stupid Arteta out crap that they come out with every now and then, I think that, and what I can't stand about that is that, all right, okay, you sack Arteta because, did I say Wenger out? I meant Arteta out. If you sack Arteta, A, who are you going to get to replace him? Like, it's a ridiculous argument. And B, he's only going to go one place, our biggest rivals, where everything he's taught us, all the routines he had in place, all the little secrets are going to go with him. It's an absolute ridiculous thing. And I can't stand this mentality. I can't stand this mentality. We've seen Chelsea do it, sack manager after manager after manager. It doesn't work. All right. It's just a really ridiculous thing to say. I hope that's not the case. I do think, though, it is the only place he could go because he's still got connections with them. And let's face it, it will be a job that he will definitely win anything he doesn't win with us, which is why we've got to start winning trophies.
I think he goes to Barcelona, to be honest.
Do you think so?
If he leaves us, he goes Barcelona. I don't think he goes City.
I hope so, because I would hate for him to be like that, where he'd go to another Premier League club. Like, that's the one thing Wenger always said, didn't he? He always said, I'll never manage another Premier League club. Like, he
certainly wouldn't do it directly, I don't think.
Mm.
I think he'd go back to Spain first, and then potentially go to City. He wouldn't do it directly. And as Pep said, you know, when City's scoring goals and when they're winning, he was really happy, unless it was against Arsenal, and he just never moved.
I was going to say, coming off, I've just seen another comment on there, and that's just reminded me of why don't you think Arsenal bought a striker? I've always said Tony could have been a great fit for you guys, but I don't know. This is a different, obviously.
I've got a theory why we never went for him. And I don't know. I think it's the same reason why Arsenal will never, ever go for someone like Jack Grealish. And I think it is because of the baggage they bring. Look, they got rid of Aubameyang, right? They didn't go for Mudryk. Arsenal don't want to be a team. At that time, we had a lot of younger players that come up through the academy. I'm not saying that these guys are impressionable, but what I'm saying is that they are surrounded by the trappings of fame and money with football. And we know what's happened with Tony. It's no secret. Grealish is like a 90s football player, the way that he parties outside.
Ayse, do you think it's similar with Ferguson and Beckham?
Yes.
That kind of mentality, where
Yes.
it's like your stardom is overtaking the club.
Yeah,
so,
I think that, like, for example, I'll go back to Zach. Zach has got a very religious family. His family are very involved with him. They have been with him from the moment he was with us when he was 8 years of age. He is very proud of the impression he gives to youngsters. He's very proud of that role model ambassadorship that he has. And I think that has gone all the way through that dressing room. And I think bringing in players like those, no matter what they do on the pitch, they will destabilise the dressing room. And that's the reason it's not happened. And that's my God's honest opinion on that one. I think that's the case. And the Rashford thing at the weekend, I was thinking about this, and I was actually thinking his story in how he ended up coming to us. You know what? If you look at the story with Arteta coming to us, I kept saying at the weekend when I was on one of the shows, I was going, this has got a feeling of when we got Arteta. Are we not getting him? Are we going to get him? Are we not going to get him? What's going on? And it went down to the wire. And there is part of me that wonders, does Arteta see a bit of himself in Sterling? Like that redemption arc, that thing of he went from Everton to us, he ended his career with us, didn't he? Then he went on and he got his managerial, and then he was with City, and then he's come back and he was our captain as well. And I think that, I'm not saying that Sterling's ever going to be captain, because there's no way he'll get that off of Odegaard.
no.
But what I'm saying is that does he see that there's a player there that's still got so much to offer, but he's just not been given the opportunities? Because and that he thinks that was kind of like him a little bit. And also he offered to take a really substantial pay cut because he knew that he was going to end up just on the bench at Chelsea, and that wasn't how he wanted to finish his career. That's the reason I've got more respect for Sterling than I have for Tony, is because Tony took the Saudi money because he knows. Look, the bottom line is these players that are going to Saudi, they're not the best that we can offer, but they are willing to go for the money. And because the Saudi league is not yet established and they know these players' names and they want to just throw money at them to get these players in, Tony is going to be an absolute superstar out there, and he's going to be carted out like a show pony, because they're going to be like, we've got this amazing young player now who we've paid X amount of money for, but he's going there for the money. And the fact that Sterling wasn't going to, he could have gone to Saudi for the money. I'm sure that they could have brokered that deal.
They offered him 695 grand a week.
There you go. And he didn't want to go. Right, he didn't want to go.
He refused it. Yeah.
So I don't know if this is true. So someone in the chat, please help me out. But I read online earlier, I thought it was really quick that Sterling jumped ship between it was a City, wasn't it? And then he went to Chelsea. Do you know it was that same summer that he signed for Chelsea, his house was raided 3 times? As in home invasion, proper 3 times it was done. I'm sure I read this. And that could have been one of the reasons why he just took the first club that were willing to match his wages, because they basically had, they'd infiltrated his home and whatnot, and he needed to. It was probably more of a personal reason. Now, if you're going with that idea and it's a personal reason, are you going to want to take your family to Saudi? You're going to want to up your young kids. It's the same with this stuff coming out about Trossard today. Apparently, surely Trossard's kids are really young. Is he going to want to up them to Saudi? I don't imagine so. So, I don't know. I've had too much Lucozade. I think I've got a bit of a high going on here. I just won't stop talking. So tell me off. Kick me if you need to. Not physically. Just,
She gets a bit energetic.
Development, don't worry.
Yeah, let's talk about your game, Depeche. What did you make about your game? Your summer signing scored again.
Yeah. I think he's gonna. I said it in a video on my page at the start of the season. I think he's going to be our player of the year. I just think, obviously, we lost Douglas Luiz, massive loss. I actually thought he would suit Arsenal really well, to be honest. I don't know what you guys think, but
yeah, absolutely.
I think he actually was really close to joining Arsenal at one point as well. And I'm surprised he went Juventus, but in a way I'm glad he did, because he can stay away from us until the Champions League now. Obviously, he returns there. But yeah, I thought obviously Onana is going to be the midfielder that we need in a sense of presence. He's tall, strong, ball winner, knows how to pass. He's someone that Douglas Luiz wasn't a bit like that. He needed Kamara next to him. And once Kamara got injured last season, he just wasn't the same towards the back end. And obviously we've seen what kind of player he is. We've seen those through balls to Watkins, one of the goals of the year last year. I thought that ball outside of his boot around the defender, I think it was against Sheffield United, I think. But Onana's great. And then obviously we all know about Duran as well. He was linked with Chelsea, West Ham, did the Hammer sign. I thought he was 100% going. I've obviously been watching him for a while, watched him last season. And he's just a young mind. He reminds me of Balotelli 2.0, really, Duran does. Could be a talented player, world at his feet. If he keeps his head, he could show that. But if he doesn't keep his head and listens to his agent all day, then he could ruin his career. So, but looked like once he scored against Leicester, he just after the game as well as with the players, he was smiling a lot, dancing with them. I've not seen him do that since he's joined us. He's normally just going like this to the camera, like almost like, whoa, I should be starting. Very selfish. Obviously, Watkins isn't playing well. He's coming in. He's getting the goals. And we got a win in the end, but it was a tough watch in the second half, I thought, because once Onana went off, I think we lost our way. And obviously, we gave a sloppy goal away. Bogard was in that right back on his first game for us, actually, in the Premier League. And he put his foot out for a challenge on a yellow in the penalty box, which luckily he didn't ride the challenge and go down. They ended up scoring anyway. But then we were holding on a bit towards the end, but luckily we got the win, which the old Villa would have lost that probably, like we've done a few seasons back.
Yeah. So, were you happy with the performance overall? Do you think you deserved more, or do you think?
I still think we played really well against Arsenal, to be honest, because against Arsenal, such a strong team of Arsenal. I thought our best game of the season so far, it's only been 3 games. I thought we played really well against West Ham as well. Obviously, as a West Ham fan in the comment section, let us know what you think. But I thought we played really well against West Ham, played really well against Arsenal. Obviously, you guys won, but I still think we played well. It doesn't depress me anymore when we lose because we play really well nowadays. Against Leicester, first half, I thought played really well. Tielemans is just one of our star players at the moment. He's been sitting in that role next to Onana.
He was anonymous last year as well, wasn't he, really?
Yeah, he was. He just couldn't find a position in the team, really, because Kamara was playing so well. Then Luiz was playing well, and they put McGinn in there as well.
Probably cancelled him out a little bit.
Yeah, so he didn't get the game time that he wanted. But now he's playing alongside Onana, obviously Belgium international as well. They know how to play together. Obviously, I'm sure you guys saw the free kick for our first goal. Great work, free kick. We tried it, I think, last season or season before against Liverpool, and it didn't pay off on that go. But this was really well worked free kick, which is important because we've got Austin McPhee, the free kick or set piece specialist, which everyone was laughing at last season, thinking, oh, obviously you'd hear commentators say, oh, why do you need a set piece specialist? We didn't have that back in our day. And yeah, probably didn't, but times move on, and that's the way it's winning us games, luckily.
Yeah. Sorry, I just want to go over this.
What's that?
So, sorry, one sec. So someone, Inzaghi, right? So I don't know if you know the history of Arsenal, but have Arsenal ever brought a manager like that into the club?
I don't believe so. No.
Ever. Have they ever done that? I don't get this kind of.
What's this mentality of if they don't do something in the like this, we got to think about replacements. We got to think about sacking. I'm telling you now.
This one.
I'm telling you now. Arteta is going nowhere, and if he goes somewhere, so's half our team, because of the way that he works with them and the way that he's doing what he's doing. And we are going to end up back 6-8 years ago when we couldn't, when the teams playing 6-8 years ago were not even good enough, really. They wouldn't have even been cleaning the boots of the Invincibles, right? Let alone being their second, like their second line. It wouldn't have happened, right? And as somebody that goes all the time, I'm not saying people in the chat are not going. I would never say, I'd never make, assumptions about whether you go, you don't go. But from my point of view, I've sat through some bloody awful games, and I've sat through and I've sat through and I've sat through, and you sit there for the love of your club, and you sit there for the hope it's going to get better. And you know what? It's getting better. And all right, we haven't won anything yet. But as I keep saying on every show I'm going on recently, I'm sorry, but if we are competing and nipping at the ankles of arguably the best team in Europe, all right, they didn't win the Champions League, this year, but it doesn't mean they're not the best team in Europe. If we are actually giving a run for the money of the best team in Europe, I'm not being funny, but Saliba made Foden look like a primary school kid in that game last season when we held them 1-0. I'm sorry, 0-0. I'm sorry, I will not at this stage turn around and say sack Arteta. It's not happening. When we were awful under Wenger, and I kept seeing these people that had Wenger out, they were holding up banners in the ground. Do you know what I did? I went and got RCM1 on the back of my top, and I wore it right by them as a big FU, because we owe that man, and we owe Arteta giving him the time. Arteta and me are the same age. I'm 41, right? If I didn't get exam results at my school straight away, they wouldn't sack me. They'd want to know what was going on. They'd want to try to flourish. They'd want to try to build it. And these things don't happen overnight. And this team over the last 24 months, if you're going to turn around and say, just because we don't win anything at the end of this season, then Arteta out, all right then. That's my opinion.
I just want to add a bit of context here, because at the end of the day, everybody thinks, oh, it's Arsenal this, and only Arsenal don't win it, and only whatever. When was the last time Villa won something? And I'm not digging out. I'm just, it's just information.
Yeah.
When was the last trophy Villa won?
Can't remember. Probably before I was born.
Right.
So long time ago. Yes.
Right. Okay. I'm not here to dig you out. I'm not. That's not what my point is. My point is that just because you're an Arsenal fan, it doesn't mean you have to. It must make other people, other teams infuriated, because you're putting those standards on us, they're putting those standards on us, and we're belittling them.
Yeah.
Well, you're belittling them because you're saying, well, it's so easy, when it's not, is it? It's been proven it's not.
No.
So
no, it's true. And do you know what? I've got a really good friend. She's a Chelsea season ticket holder, right? And we met up not long ago, and she went to me, I suppose you're going to rib me. I went, what am I going to rib you for? You've won the Champions League. Yeah, Champions League, right? And then I said to her, but you know something? I said, you may not feel it now, but when this all turns round and Chelsea start actually winning again, you will relish this moment, because you will still be there when a lot of glory hunters won't be. All right? You will still be sitting in those stands, cheering on your team, even when they're awful, because it's your team. And that's the end of it, right? And that is it for me. I'm not going to suddenly take this top off because my team don't win anything. Bloody hell, I wouldn't have a shirt for God knows how many years now. I graduated from university the last time we won the league. Do you know what I mean? It's not happening.
Kai, can I just tell you something? I mean, I don't know how old you are. I don't know if you go to games. Maybe you can tell us that. The reason we got rid of Wenger is because the tactics were completely abysmal by the end. Unfortunately, I love Wenger. I never wanted him to go anywhere. It took me a long time to get on that bus, but I got on it in the end because I couldn't take it anymore. And the reason it wasn't even his fault really, because he was hamstrung by the board. The board were happy with top four. They're the Daniel Levy of today.
Yep.
That's exactly what they wanted. They wanted the money from finishing top four, an FA Cup if they could get it, and they were happy with that. They didn't give a shit if the fans were happy with it or not. And the Kroenkes were like that. And now they're actually back in the team. So it's not the same.
It's completely
different. It's a completely different scenario altogether.
And this goes back to what we originally started this stream with was, yes, rules can be rules, but there are times when the data doesn't match what is actually going on. And this is a classic example because do you know what? We knew as Arsenal fans watching Wenger at the end of every single game when he had to do the manager's chat, we knew he was hiding something. We knew that the board weren't letting him spend money. We knew that he was seeing the Wenger out and it was breaking his heart, and he couldn't say because he's old-fashioned and he's professional, and he would not come out and slag off the board because he didn't think it was a professional thing for a manager to do. He's a total and utter gentleman. I met Arsene Wenger at the ground and I know he's an utter gentleman by the conversations that I had with him. And you know something? I was so happy that he went on his own terms because the thought of that man getting sacked actually broke my heart. I was at that game when he stood there and said, I may have been Arsenal manager, but above all, I'm an Arsenal fan. And I am not too ashamed to say that I sobbed my eyes out because that was a man that I'd seen all through from, when did he leave? What year did he go now? I can't remember. 2018, wasn't it? Was it 2018?
I think it was 19 actually, because of 2017. Didn't we won the FA Cup in 20? Didn't we?
And then he said he was going
to. No, it was 18. It was 18 because Emery came in for a year.
So he had managed. So in 2018, what we're going back 6 years. So I was 35. So he had managed for pretty much most of my adult life. Right, for most of my adult life. And you know what? I couldn't think who was going to replace him. I couldn't think who was going to replace him. And it was a scary time. And you know what? That's how I knew that Arsenal had more integrity than other teams. When we lost 8-2 to United, other teams would have sacked the manager for losing 8-2 to United. I went to that game. I don't know if anybody knows, but the United fans in the chat will tell us they refunded every Arsenal fan that went to that game. Do you know that? They actually refunded us for going all the way to Old Trafford. So that's what, and they didn't sack him. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know what? You're never going to have me on here again because I just keep going on rants.
Well, that's why we're having you on. Anyway, the reason we got rid of Wenger is because fans weren't happy. That board didn't give a shit about fans.
No, they didn't. They didn't at all.
They got rid of him because he could no longer finish top four. That's what they get rid of him for. Because he couldn't do the job anymore. He couldn't. He achieved so much on a shoestring budget that he couldn't do it anymore. And they got rid of him because he was worthless to them anymore.
Because they only wanted top four for this. They only wanted top four. And what people don't
know. That's why they got rid of him. And don't let anybody tell you any different.
And let me tell you something else about Wenger people don't know as well. Anyone who's got an Arsenal season ticket, who's had their Arsenal season ticket for the last 10 years, will be able to tell you this is true. Wenger was the one that argued with the board about freezing our season tickets for 5 years. Our season tickets didn't go up for 5 years. You tell me another club that had a manager that put the fans first like that. You won't be able to find one, apart from Ferguson, maybe, because he always did put the fans first. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
Apart from Spurs, as their shit, they're built to win a football club. I mean, there's other clubs as well that don't win anything. You know, it's not just Spurs.
Yeah.
So it's a fallacy. I mean, yes, arguably they don't get over the line and they have no right to call anybody else a bottler, but there are other clubs that don't win stuff. Kai Wenger won the league cups, went invincible, got the Champions League final. That man got Arsenal in a position with a shoestring budget. You look at those squads that got into Europe, into Champions Leagues, and how he got in there is an absolute miracle, let alone winning it. You're not winning it with that squad. Sorry. The only trophy Mikel was. See, I hate this, right? Right. So this is Unai Emery's squad, right?
Time to build a squad. What are they talking?
No, but wait. So you're going to basically dig him out for finishing 8th. Arteta finished 8th, right? But he won the FA Cup with another team squad. Which is it? You can't have both.
And can I just add, a classic thing is happening in this chat right here, right? Richard, who is from the conversations I can see him in here, is a proper diehard United fan. We're having respectful conversations. Yes, I did also see, Richard, that you went to the same game as me. I know you was in a different end. I'm ignoring it out of the principle of ignoring it.
Yes, we're ignoring that Richard.
But do you know what? This is what I'm saying. How football now is like United and Arsenal. The rivalry was fierce, but they had a respect for each other. And when you see, because I do see it, when you see Man United fans sticking up for Wenger, you know what a great manager Wenger was. Because we say good things about Ferguson. I know I do. And, it was... I also worked out yesterday, the first game I ever went to. I sat and worked it out. It was David O'Leary's testimonial. Do you know that? That was the first game I ever went to. I was 4. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? David O'Leary's testimonial. Also shows how old I am, which I'm not very happy with, but we'll just move on from that. Wenger won us an FA Cup, top 4 finishes and 4. God.
He didn't bin off the domestic cups. He tried to rotate the squad.
In fact, it's the total opposite. I would be critical of Arteta for binning off the cups because I think that's one of the things that he's done is he's not given respect to the FA Cup, where actually if we had pushed more
that's what he's saying.
What? Wenger won us more?
That's what he's saying. Arteta finished top 4 and bins off the domestic cups. That's what he's saying.
No, but I'm saying that but okay, so I'm agreeing with him that part. That's fair. But what I'm saying is that agreeing with you, Wenger actually ended up using the FA Cups and the Carling Cup as a way to get the younger players onto the pitch and experience first team football, where Arteta should be doing the same thing. And that's why I think that's why players like Ramsdale, Smith Rowe, and Eddie, they've all gone. Because they didn't, even if that was their first team football, I'm sure it would have been kept them. They would have kept them at the club this season. If he guaranteed them the cups, it would have kept them there this season. I'm 100%.
I slightly disagree with you, and I agree with you for a point. And yes, the League Cup should be for bloody youngsters, but aren't City just going to win it every year if we all just keep doing that? Because they've got their youth squad. It's not a youth squad anymore. We all used to do that until City came along with 3 squads, 3 teams, 3 starting 11s, and that cup side was stronger than most starting 11s anyway. So we had to start playing proper sides in the League Cup as well.
I think we might. I think poor Kai might think we're having a go at him. It's just the passion, my friend. Don't worry. I'm half Turkish, so I'm naturally quite loud.
Nobody's having a go at all. We're just retorting to what you're saying.
Look, I think the problem is it is the Premier League mentality now. You don't turn it on, your job's on the line. I mean, I read today in The Sun that they said to Ten Hag, we would have replaced you in the summer, but we couldn't find anyone. You happy to stay for another season? And he went, yeah. That's awful.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
That's awful.
They couldn't find anyone, so they thought, he's won the FA Cup now, so might as well keep him.
8th in FA Cup, and it's all the United fans are giving it, you're not in a title race. But I agree. That's why the board won't get rid of Arteta, because he gets top 4 and he gets the club money.
It's not about getting up. It's
when,
not about
when the club got into top 4, they spent £100 million on a player to strengthen the midfield.
And I saw Arsenal fans saying, right, that's too much money to spend on one player. West Ham have robbed us. He's not worth that much. What do you want? Like, what do you want?
The problem is you get these types of fans, and nothing's ever good enough. It doesn't matter what they do. It's either too much money, or it's not enough money, or they're too old, or they're too young, they're too left-footed, they're too right-footed, they're not tall enough, they're too short, they've only got one bloody ball. I don't
You see
really
Mark
understand.
in the chat.
I
Have you
think
seen Mark?
there's a nice comment that's come through from Kai. I don't know if anyone's seen it yet. Ten Hag's time under United has been better than Arteta's at Arsenal. I think that's going to cause shockwaves. I think just because he's won 2 trophies doesn't mean his time has been better than Arteta's. I'm sure that's what Rich is trying to say as well.
So what you'd rather have a cup side, basically a cup side that does nothing all season, and for 6 games turns up and wins those 6 games. I mean, that League Cup run was the biggest joke run I've ever seen. I think they got bloody Colchester in the semi-final or something.
I think they beat us, and then which was frustrating. I think that was the FA Cup when we were winning 2-0. We messed it up and lost 3-2. I think when Garnacho scored twice. Then they had like I don't know if it was like Hull next or something. It was really straightforward. Then there was another straightforward one, and Scotland's one, and then obviously
there was some ridiculous things.
Really. So yeah,
Mark, how are we? This is a United fan, Kai. This is a United fan telling you that you're joking.
Would you guys rather watch a dross team, shocking football, no tactics, and win a trophy over watching? I know it's frustrating to watch when you play so well and you don't win anything, but I still rather watch my team play proper football. Surely,
when Chelsea were winning everything, right? When they were winning everything, my dad said the best thing about them, and this is no disrespect to any Chelsea fan, is just trying to prove your point about what is the line between being entertained and winning, right? My dad said if they were playing these games in his back garden, he'd shut the curtains. They were that boring, right? And I think that's 100% true. I think you want to be entertained.
Can I ask you how old you are, please?
Just one thing. I've been to some fantastic Arsenal games where we have played like sensational football, but we've lost 2-0, right? But we've lost 2-0. It's not, don't get me wrong, I've not walked out going, yeah, we had a great game, but we still lost. I've not done that. But I agree with you that football's different now. It's evolved, and it's not about don't get the win, sack the manager. Arteta is so ingrained from the top down to what he's doing in that club, right? So ingrained, he's not going anywhere. Just a classic example. Look at what he's been doing with Win the Dog. I know I sound like I'm going off on a tangent here, but please hear me out. Having that dog, and I think isn't it the player that has the worst game, or they suffer some form of what he considers to be mental anxiety, they take the dog home. And the mental, the sort of psychology is he's with win. Therefore, it's winning mentality. You have to nurture the win. These little things might sound really weird, but they work. And that's not coming from someone that doesn't know how to manage a football club, right? And yeah, there you go. It's getting very hot in here, but I don't know if it's just me. But
you're wearing a long sleeve top, that's what it'll be.
There I am, yeah. But I haven't bought the long sleeve one. I've got my own white top underneath because my cousin put me off by saying the long sleeve one looked like a Tesco's club card. So I was like, right, I'm not buying it now. You've put me off.
I don't know if you're just trolling now. I'm really confused.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know if you're just bantering. I can't work it out, to be honest, because it started off with such a measured argument, and then we've kind of gone from that to
Ten Hag.
You'd rather have Ten Hag, would you? I wouldn't.
Oh my God. Yeah. Can you highlight Mark's comments? Because this will lighten the mood and make everybody laugh, I think, because it's getting a bit tense in here. Friday, we did a show where we did obviously for the transfer deadline day. And me and Mark were having a very heated conversation about Sterling, right? Very heated conversation about Sterling. And I talk with my arms. I think it's the Mediterranean thing in me. And I went like that. Now, you can't see it from here, and I can't move my thing to show you because I've knocked the light over. But we've got banisters, and this room is our loft room. It goes straight down into our bedroom. And my husband was sat down there watching the transfer stuff, just sitting on the bed watching the telly. And all of a sudden, he started to see this dripping, and he was like, "What is going on?" I'd gone like that, and I had a glass of Coke this big, and it went all down the stairs. It went over the top. Richard, it looked like United with your waterfall, mate. I tell you, it was like that, just Coca-Cola. There's him at the bottom of the stairs. There's me and Mark still arguing. There's him trying to clean it up with towels and baby wipes. It's not marking the wall. There's me trying to carry on having a show without it impacting, and it was just flooding the desk. It was a nightmare, but it did break up the mood because I think him and me were having quite a heated conversation.
You and Mark having a heated conversation. I can't possibly believe that. Chelsea are a manufactured club with only got into position because no FFP was about when Roman took over. Yeah, and they might be getting done for what Roman did as well. So
yeah,
they might not as well because they're Chelsea, and you know they don't really want to punish big clubs, do they? They want to punish the small ones, and yeah. So yeah, I still don't see them ever doing anything about it, to be honest with you. Ten Hag's been more successful. The aim of elite sports trophies, not who play the best. The whole point of being in a league is to win trophies. Otherwise, you might as well play friendlies. Go on.
That's my brother-in-law. That is. He's United.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It's because he's watching dire football day in, day out. He has no excitement when he watches United. And then, wow, at the end of the season, might win a trophy. You're not going to celebrate winning an FA Cup when you've been playing crap and all your fans have been going off on one all season. And you stay depressed every weekend because you've been watching Man United. Do you know what I mean? So I don't agree.
See Man United meltdowns every weekend.
Yeah, all the time.
Literally every weekend, and you'd rather do that. Don't know, man.
For your blood pressure.
The reason we banter Spurs is based on trophies, not league positions. It's everything.
I don't banter Spurs. I act like they don't exist. And the reason
I'd certainly in the stadium. I try to keep away from it unless we're playing them.
I have no interest in them because I don't want to be to them the way their supporters are to us. Like they don't interest me. It's like when they did their whole thing last season. So a Spurs fan at work went to me, "Oh yeah, because you weren't cheering on Liverpool when we were in the Champions League final with them." I went, "Mate, I don't even remember when that was. I must have gone out. Like I've got no interest. Like you think you don't live rent free in my head. Like trust me, we live very rent free in yours. It's quite obvious. But I've got absolutely no interest in Spurs. Like they don't. I consider our rivalry to be much more the classic old ones like United or Liverpool. You know, and like I said to you earlier, I was more scared about playing Villa this season. You know, it is what it is. It is 100% what it is.
I think I watched 25 seconds of that final.
I don't even remember when it was. Like
I watched that first. that first goal they scored. I was like, "That's it. I'm off out then."
I
don't need to watch any more of this.
To me, the sickening thing what they did last season. Okay, it's obvious they wanted Man City to beat them. That's kind of obvious. But when I saw Spurs fans wearing Man City tops and singing Blue Moon, nothing would make me change. Like, nothing would make. Do you know something? My dad's got a Turkish team, right? Fenerbahce. And I go to him. He goes to me, "You got to have another team." I went, "Why have I got to have a Turkish team?" He goes, "Well, because you're half Turkish." I went, "Yeah, I'm all Londoner and this is my team. I don't have another team. Like this is my team." And he goes, and it's like, "You're all going to hate me for this. This is mental." When I was younger, you know, when we had like Henry, Vieira, Petit, all that lot, I had a France shirt, not an England one. And my mum went to me, "Why have you got a France shirt?" I went, "Because most of the players that play for France play for Arsenal." She goes, "But it's your country." I go, I can't switch my allegiance off for supporting these all year round. Then I'm going to suddenly start supporting this lot in internationals. My family went mad. I stuck my ground though. I had on Re 12 on my shirt. I didn't care. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't do that now. I've grown up a bit since then. But I was like, I'm not going to suddenly start.
Only because we don't have as many French players.
That could be the truth of it. I don't know. But
I mean,
I could, yeah.
In fairness, I could do that as well. Because I used to go to England games quite a lot, and it just being completely put off. It's just not the same. It just bores me.
But then saying that we had Keown, Winterburn, Adams, Seaman, when it was like the France Euro 96, that was my team. I was devastated because so many of them were Arsenal players. So, you know. What's this? Same with Chelsea. I'm not trying. Oh, God.
I was kind of hoping you were trolling, to be honest, Kai. But there you go. Yeah, I mean, it's your opinion. You're entitled to it. Not your fault at all. I'm guessing that's the knocking Coke over.
Yeah.
Whenever he laughs at Harry Kane, they're laughing at him having no trophies.
I don't. Do you know, I'm not even going to lie. I like Harry Kane, and I liked him when he was at Spurs. I actually thought he was a gentleman. And I don't have that attitude towards Harry Kane.
Do you know what? I'd have taken him last season.
Yeah, 100%. And also, it's like I couldn't stand Richarlison. Like, I really couldn't stand him. Then I watched a program about him and the battles he's had with mental health, and the fact as a man he was so strong to come out and actually talk about the problems he'd had with mental health. I actually stopped taking the piss out of Richarlison because I just felt, you know what? I can't do that. That's beyond football for me. So
and then he yanked himself on the floor and he went, sod it, I'm doing it anyway.
I did. I'm not going to lie. I'll have to find the picture and show you in a group chat we're in. But I did actually. That day we beat them. We were away to them, end of the season. I actually put a picture on a Facebook page. There was a picture of his face and a manky potato and how they looked alike. Right, so I probably am quite bad.
So you don't want Ten Hag anywhere near him, but you're voicing his accolades as though that's what you'd like. That's what I don't understand, man. But there you go. Russ, welcome in. Good evening, my friend. How are we? We have a Villa fan on, so you can say the evening.
Yes,
thing.
that's why I'm saying it.
He always says it, to be fair.
What is he? Good evening.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's his tagline, and there you go. Richard, why won't be able to get Inzaghi or Michelle from Girona? Michelle would go to City for a start off because it's a City-owned group, and it's a City-owned club for a start off. Inzaghi's we just wouldn't pay Inzaghi. It's just as simple as that. We won't pay his money. It's just that simple. It's like, yeah, we don't buy superstars, we create them. It's the same kind of thesis with managers. Whether you can argue whether that's the right thesis to have, but that's the way we've always done it.
Do you know I've got that quote up in my classroom, that Wenger quote. And when I say, the kids ask me why I have it up there, they said, well, you can't exactly buy us and sell us, miss. I go, no, but I can take you at whatever ability you are and help you get a GCSE. Isn't that the same thing?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm going to Fenerbahce game early next year. I can't wait. Nice, like that. What's this? Also, we could never go for the style of play that Inzaghi goes with. Saka would end up as a right wing back. Yeah. Well, back to a left wing back. I couldn't care less if he's a Spurs player. Harry Kane is a very good player. That's what I mean. I'd have taken him last season on the goals that he scored, and it could have been the difference.
Yeah.
That's why I would have taken him, and I have no shame in admitting that. The only thing is that obviously he might extend our Baron Trophy run because he's cursed. Mikel took a team who finished 18th to finishing third, getting them in title race for the best club in the world, Real Madrid, until March, finished third. Yeah, but we wouldn't get him. It's just
I don't want him. I don't see this tinkering with the manager. Like I've said, you lose Arteta, you're going to lose a lot of the back staff, you're going to lose a lot of the players. It's a ridiculous conversation to be having 3 games into the season when you're only 2 points behind a team that's won it 4 times. Let's just move on. It's ridiculous.
And when we were 5 points behind, and then we got it to 2 points behind, hopefully it's the final hurdle.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
yeah.
It's
a quick switch from League One to Premier League, and also played 8 players who played for him in League One against Liverpool. Do you take him? Again, I think we've answered that one to death. I'm not doing it anymore. Not doing it anymore. Yes, guys. If you're in here in the chat and you're not in the Footy Corner one, log on to the YouTube, subscribe to the channel, do some likes and comments. That'd be fantastic. If you can do that, it would be amazing. What Mark said there. Thank you very much, Mark. We would lose the players anyway. What do you mean? No, we wouldn't. How would we lose if they're Arteta's players and Arteta stays? How are we losing the players? The only time we're losing the players is when Arteta says, "Well, no good to me anymore." Surely, you don't think players like Saliba wouldn't leave if Real Madrid came knocking? We weren't winning anything. He came out like 3 weeks ago, basically saying that he wants to be a legend at the club and he wants to win things with Arsenal. Now, if we go another 3 years not winning anything, that mentality might shift. Yes, you might have a point there, but it's going to take something to shift it, isn't it?
I feel very sorry for offside opinions at the moment because it's just for Arsenal and it's not.
We've got a Villa comment coming up now.
Oh, we have. Oh, good.
Here it is. Thank you, Richard. I would definitely.
I feel it's a bit.
You got a Villa comment from a Man United supporter.
It's keeping me involved. I like it.
He puts these things out sometimes. It's quite funny.
I wouldn't have Southgate anywhere near Villa. I think he's just a terrible manager. I don't know what you guys think about England and all of that, but clearly Richard feels sorry for him. I just think he just holds back young talent. That Euros, I just don't know what happened. We just didn't play with that. Bring on Cole Palmer off the bench, but why aren't you starting him? Foden clearly wasn't playing well. Play Cole Palmer. I just feel like his tactics, he's too defensive minded for me. He's not as an attacking manager as I'd like for Villa. So definitely not anywhere near. There you go. So Kai's even said he's not even good enough for West Ham. I wouldn't want him anywhere near Villa, to be honest. I just don't see life without Emery, to be honest. I just think he's going to live and die at Villa, hopefully.
Because, and you know what? Give that man props for something. When he came to England, when he came to Arsenal, he could barely speak English. Yeah. And now look him. I have every respect for what he's done with Villa, and we need more managers to actually say, right, I didn't get on with this one, but I'll get on with this one. And it's got nothing to do with Arsenal, why he's done what he's done with Villa. I think any Arsenal fan that says that is really egotistical because it's not all about us. It's about what he does with other teams. And
I might be a bit egotistical then because I think he's actually changed a little bit. He's not necessarily a style of play. I think his style of play is still the same. I think he's learned from that, but and not from us. I don't think that's anything to do with us. I think that's probably more his time in Villarreal than anything else. But I do think that his man management, where he kind of isolated himself from the group, I do think he's learned from that. I think he basically took a lot from his time on that kind of process of himself rather than his tactical egotistical mind or whatever. So yeah, I do think he learned from that, but I think that's more from his time in English football as well, rather than necessarily
over Arsenal.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's to get one over an Arsenal at all. I think it was for his career. He had to change his management style. Somebody said it earlier on that Mourinho. There's a reason he's in Turkey, and he's not in the Premier League. And it's a fact. That's exactly why he's there, because he can't get up to date with the management style that, credit to Emery, he's actually done.
That's not why Mourinho's in Turkey. Mourinho's in Turkey because he's getting the same teeth as Klopp. That's the reason he's in Turkey.
I think Richard doesn't want Southgate at United. That's why he wants him to come to Villa. But yeah, he's been heavily linked with United. That'd be funny if he did go there, because I don't know what United fans think of Southgate going there.
Right.
I might have to go soon, guys. I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah, I'll be going to end it anyway. We took a bit longer than we expected. Let's get through these chats very quickly. We got down a rabbit hole with the manager debate, I think. His name's Depeche. It's only because the chat's up that he's you wouldn't see his name, but yeah. What do you rate Arsenal's transfer window out of 10?
I think it's too early to say. I mean, I'll be honest with you. If you'd asked me at 12 o'clock in the afternoon about the whole Sterling thing, I would have told you. Well, actually, I did say to someone at work, "F off." There was no children in the building at the time. I just want to add to that. But it was weird. The more I started reading about it, the more I started thinking about the psychology of it. I actually thought this could be quite good. And I'll tell you the stat that changed my opinion. When we looked at the Opta stats, Sterling on average plays 65 minutes of every game. They're about the same amount that Martinelli plays. And Martinelli can play on the right or the left. So I think that Arteta's got this idea about almost like a triangle rotation between Martinelli, Trossard and Sterling. Is that what you think?
Somebody else has seen it. Thank God for that.
Hug to you from here. I'm telling you, that's what it is. That's what it is.
I tried to explain that, and Liam will back you up on this. But I tried to explain exactly the same thing. And yeah, you've basically got Martinelli that can left and right, but probably mostly right, and then Trossard left.
And this is not, listen, everyone's getting it twisted. This is not about a lip service to Sterling. This is a big, big show from Arteta to Trossard, because Trossard wants to play more. And Arteta has put his neck on the line to get Sterling so that Trossard can play more, because he knows other people are interested in him. And that's my absolute honest opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And you know what? I'm sorry. We've put a lot of promo in the way of a loan deal. I don't think I've ever seen about 5 or 6 different pictures of a player going like this to a shirt for a loan deal. It is a loan deal. I mean, I don't think Arsenal are hiding that, but it's definitely a loan deal with an agreement of, you help us win the league next season, or you get us too near to win the league this season, or you at least help us win a trophy, we'll sign you. But they're not going to put their neck on the line for a player who could possibly have peaked. We don't know that. We haven't seen him play enough at Chelsea. Yeah, that's just my opinion. It's made me feel happy that someone else saw my vision. Thank you.
Well, the left wing was definitely the one that needed replacement, purely for that reason, because we're overburdened on the left-hand side, but we just needed somebody to inject the level and to release one of them and then shove one on the right. But yeah, if you had to give it a number, what would you give it?
Ask me after
quickly,
Spurs
because
game.
we're all need to go.
I'm going to say 7 to be moderate.
7.
6 as well.
You go 6 as well. I think the Sterling deal elevated it to a 7. I think it was a 6, but I think it elevated it to a 7. Let's say Arsenal never backed him fully, and the fans couldn't get behind a massive Tottenham's trend.
No, let's get one thing straight. The fans, they did the classic thing, if you don't know what you got till it's gone. They all wanted Wenger out, or a big chunk of them wanted him out. Yeah. And then when Emery came in, Emery could have been anybody. He was never going to be Wenger. And I think that there's nothing wrong with Emery. He's at the club now where he should be. And that's the bottom line of it.
I'm not Richard, I'm Sparks, but hello. Thoughts on Sterling's. What are your thoughts on Sterling joining? I'd take him all day long, to be honest. And I think it's a very clever move.
I was saying this last night.
Opportunistic.
I'll have to send it in the group chat. My brother sent me a text message yesterday. It was from August 2022, right? And it was a conversation between him and I in a WhatsApp group chat. And he said, Sterling's gone to Chelsea. And my reply was, that's a shame. I'd have him at Arsenal. So there you go.
Right. Okay. I'm just going to do this one. Right. I'll speak on every Arsenal fan. We were never going to pay his wages for a start off.
That's the truth.
And he just wanted too much wages, and now he's been outcast. He has to settle for Galatasaray.
Yeah,
that's it. He's just been outcast, mate. There's no doubt he's got quality. He's got a chip on his shoulder as well. You know, the fact that he wanted to go because he was racially abused, but then he wants to go to a place where there's potential for that as well. It tells you all you need to know. It's just about money, really.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
offside opinions on TikTok, guys. Offside opinions on TikTok.
Say again.
I was saying offside opinions with a Z on TikTok. If you want to give me
let me close the chat. If I can close the chat.
Oh, there it is. Yes, thank you.
There you go. That is Depeche is TikTok. Ayse's TikTok is in brackets there. My obviously the YouTube is my one. Yeah. So there we go. Depeche, nice debut. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for having me. Happened all very quick.
I've just given you a follow on TikTok.
Oh, thank you very much. I need to say
we tried to divert as much as we can from Arsenal. Things just kind of swung back.
It comes back to it. It's
divert away if we can.
Thank you, everyone in the chat as well.
Again, so what's that?
That is also the name of my YouTube channel. There's not much on it at the moment, but I am going to start uploading a lot of stuff. I've been working on a series of 6 videos that I am going to be uploading very shortly about Arsenal players who have fought and died in the First World War. I actually went to France and Belgium over the summer, and I actually found where each one of them's buried. And I've done videos on each of them. So nice. I know it's a bit morbid to end a stream on, but that's what I've been working on.
Well, that's what advertising is, isn't it? At the end of the day. So if you want, you can give me a shout when you've got them up, and we can link them through my channel as well.
No problem.
Can you put the links? Can you put the links in the chat?
If you just for mine, if you literally just type that name in YouTube, I'll come up.
So type the name in. And just put an @ in front of it, and that's what you got. It's very simple. Very simple. Right, guys, thank you very much for and thank you very much, Ayse, as well.
No problem.
Sorry, I completely we're trying to finish now.
So we have a good night.
Yeah, so guys, thanks very much for watching. We've had 288 people viewing the live, so thank you very much for all your time doing that. And please make sure to follow the YouTube channel. Make sure you're liking and subscribing, sharing the live. Appreciate you all, and we will see you all next time.
Catch you on the next one. Thank you.